Ready? Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay, we are going to open the March 21st, 2023 Altadena Town Council meeting. It is now 7:01. Meeting is open. Okay, first on the agenda is our flag salute, and our flag salute is being led by Martha Zavala. I've known Martha now for the last 3 years. Martha, you want to come up? Uh-huh. And I want to just open this meeting in the spirit of Women's History Month. And Martha is a woman making history right here in our own area. She's the president of the League of Women Voters, the Pasadena Area League, and it's the same league that helped establish the town council 48 years ago. So under her leadership, the league has increased voter registration, voter education, and voter engagement. She's a member of the LA County Registers Community and Voter Outreach Committee that focuses on ensuring elections are fair, accessible, and transparent for all voters. And we all know how important that was from our own election, right? So I have worked with her for over 3 years now as a volunteer of the League of Women Voters. And tonight she will lead us in our flag salute.
Thank you very much for this honor. Good evening. Please stand. Face the flag harder. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Okay. Next on the agenda, we have our roll call. Dorothy, Councilmember Wong.
Thank you, Chair Jones. Good evening, everybody. Let's get our roll call going. Rod Bryce. Thank you. Alan Peck. Present. Thank you. Doug Cauliflower. Present. Thank you. Reginald Wilkins. Present. Thank you. We have Connor Cipolla. Present. Thank you. Melissa Morona. Present. Thank you. Diane Markison.
Excused.
Thank you. Sylvia Vega. Here. Thank you. Dr. Sandra Thomas.
Excuse.
No, she's here.
She may text me. She's watching online.
Okay.
And I got an open line to her if she wants to say something.
Very
Yeah,
awesome. Chris O'Malley.
I am here.
Thank you. Victoria Knapp.
Present.
Thank you. Veronica Jones.
Here.
Thank you. Nick Arnzen.
Here.
Thank you. Dorothy Wong is here. Billy Malone.
Excused.
Thank you. And the very famous Pat Sutherland.
I just swam in.
She is here.
She's here.
We have a quorum, 3 not present, or 2.5.
Okay, thank you for that. Okay, so we move on to approval of the March 21st, 2023 meeting agenda.
Thank you. Good evening, fellow council members and community members, both here and watching online. There are agendas in the back of the room on the table, as well as public comment cards. This is a reminder that the council welcomes input from the public on both agendized and non-agendized items. If you would like to make public comment, please fill out a comment card and give it to a council member on either end of the dais. While we do not respond to public comment during the meeting, if you would like a response, please include your contact information. This process is in place to ensure that everyone wishing to make public comment has the time to do so and that we can conduct this meeting in an orderly fashion. Council members, the Altadena Town Council Executive Committee met on Sunday, March, ooh, look at that, this is old. Hold that thought. Hold on one second. Too many papers, and now what did I, well, we met on the 14th, and we circulated the agenda to you on the 17th. I received one addition from Councilmember Arnzen, and that is for a committee report, which would become item 6.3 for the Communications Committee. Are there any other changes? Yes,
Yes.
Chair.
I have a change. I'd like to move the Altadena sheriff up above to 3.1.
Okay,
We have a special guest.
okay.
Okay.
So we're just going to
Yeah,
switch the
just switch
sheriff's
those.
station with the highway patrol, okay? So those will just switch out. Are there any other changes? Okay, I move that we accept the agenda as amended.
Second.
Any opposition?
Nope.
The agenda is accepted as presented with the changes we made. Okay, so we move on to the officers' report. And the first one is the chairman's report. That's me. And I'm going to yield my time to Martha Zavala. Just before I yield my time, I just want to say, in the spirit of Women's History Month, I want to salute all the amazing women that sit up here on the town council with me, and just that know that they are leaders and champions of our community, and I'm honored to serve with all of you. So,
Thank you. Good evening again. I'm Martha Zavala from the League of Women Voters, Pasadena area. And I'm here to tell you that the League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan organization. We neither support or oppose any candidate or political party. So we are, however, issue-based. We do take positions on public policy issues, and we advocate for them. And we've done it since before we were a league and before we got the vote. So today, in honor of Women's History Month, I do want to remind you all that this effort to, first of all, get women the vote started back in a very famous conference in 1848 in Seneca Falls, where they had a declaration of sentiments to talk about what they were planning to do. And this effort took 72 years to finally give women the vote in 1920. And the League of Women Voters, the people who convened in February of 1920, were so sure that the amendment would pass that the League of Women Voters is actually older than the 19th Amendment by 6 months. Yay, talk about fantastic women, just like the ones we have present today. So that's very exciting, but in 1923, Alice Paul proposed, anybody know what she proposed? The Equal Rights Amendment in 1923. But it wasn't until 1972 that Congress actually passed the Equal Rights Amendment. So it took a very long time. It was 40 separate congressional sessions where it continued to be introduced over and over again. So what I'd like to do is read a little bit of the words from Shirley Chisholm in May of 1969, and she expressed her sentiments. Oh, I like this. So she was, for those of you who don't know, she was an amazing trailblazer. She was the first African-American woman in Congress and the first African-American woman to seek the nomination for President of the United States from one of the two major political parties. She was an outspoken advocate for women and minorities during her 7 terms in the U.S. House of Representatives. And last but not least, she was a member of the League of Women Voters. So in May in 1969, she gave a speech before the U.S. Congress to urge the passage of the Equal Rights Amendment. These are excerpts taken from that speech. There's a lot of ellipses in between. Why is it acceptable for women to be secretaries, librarians, teachers, but totally unacceptable for them to be managers, administrators, doctors, lawyers, and members of Congress? As in the field of equal rights for Blacks, Spanish Americans, you know us as Latinos or Latinx, the Indians, Native Americans, and other groups, laws will not change such deep-seated problems overnight, but they begin the process of evolutionary change by compelling the insensitive majority to re-examine its unconscious attitudes. It is for this reason that I wish to introduce today a proposal that has been before every Congress for the last 40 years. Excuse me. and that sooner or later must become part of the basic law of the land, the Equal Rights Amendment. Shirley Chisholm's words are still relevant today because the ERA has not been passed. As a matter of fact, in 2020, the ERA was actually ratified by the 38th state, and that was the state of Virginia. And under any other circumstances, that ERA would have become the 28th Amendment to the Constitution. However, unlike normal amendments, they decided to put a sunset line. Well, it's relevant today because before Congress, we have 2 resolutions active right now, one by the House, one by the Senate. The Senate is a bipartisan action right now to go ahead and lift that deadline and actually make this a reality. So if any of you are interested in joining the League and supporting this, please contact me at the League of Women Voters, Pasadena area. Thank you.
Thank you. Martha?
Martha, stay up. We have a little something for you.
Thank you. Okay, so we're going to move on. The vice chair has yielded her time, so we're going to move right on to the recording secretary, Nick Arnzen.
Thank you, Chair. The minutes from the February 21st Town Council meeting were sent out to full council for review last week. I received no corrections. Are there any tonight? Seeing none, Chair Jones, I move that we accept the February 21st minutes by unanimous consent.
Minutes accepted as presented. Okay, so, we move on. We're moving along good here. Okay, treasurer's report.
Treasurer, that's me. We began the statement period on February 1st, 2023 with $2,267.78 in the bank. We ended it with $177 worth of deposits for an ending balance of $2,444.78. I would like just to take this moment to remind everybody, both in here and at home, that the Altadena Town Council is a volunteer organization. We are not supported by the county in any financial sense, and we depend upon our budget through the good graces of the residents of this incredible town. So I'm going to pass around this can here, which dates back to our founding in 1975. And if you can see your way to put $1 or $2 in there, the council and the town thanks you very much.
Okay, thank you for that report. Okay, we move on to our corresponding secretary, Dorothy Wong.
Thank you, Chair Jones. So again, good evening, everybody. Just some quick updates on upcoming events in March, and I'm sure you're going to be hearing a lot of great events throughout this meeting today. You can definitely submit your events at dorothy.wong@altadenatowncouncil.org as well. The library has an amazing calendar, community calendar, altadenanews.org. Just some quick highlights as we're approaching the end of March, but we've got some great activities going on. March 26th at 7 o'clock is the extraordinary virtuoso jazz spring concert. Check that out. And also the ACONA meeting will be taking place on March 28th. That's Tuesday, starting at 7 o'clock. This is a great community resource for us to learn more about events going on in our community. The topic will be Altadena Libraries, the new design of the 2 libraries, featuring Nikki Winslow, and then also an update on the safe streets and sidewalks in Altadena, featuring LA County Public Works. So check that out. And don't forget the farmers market is every Wednesday, 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. Thank you for being part of Altadena.
Okay, thank you for that report. Okay, we move on to our public safety reports. Can we have the Altadena Sheriff?
Good evening. Thanks for allowing me to present. So in the interest of time, I'm just going to talk briefly about 2 events that are going on in our community at the station. First is a catalytic converter etching event. It's going to be Wednesday, April 12th. That's going to be from 8 o'clock to 12 o'clock, Wednesday, April 12th, 8 o'clock to 12 o'clock. Bring your vehicles, and we'll etch the catalytic converter for free. The next event is going to be a prescription drug take-back day. That's going to be Saturday, April 22nd, between 10 and 2. April 22nd, between 10 and 2. Bring any prescription medications that you have that you want to dispose of, bring them to a station, we'll dispose of it for you. We will not be taking any needles or anything sharp like that, but just prescription drugs. In the interest of time, I have present to you two upper-level executives from the Sheriff's Department. They're here to address some issues regarding the Charles Towns incident. And I'll bring them up first. We have my Chief George Valdez, and also the Commander Morjan. Thank you.
Good afternoon. First and foremost, before I start, in the spirit of Women's History Month, I want to acknowledge our women leaders, both up in the council and in the room. Thank you for everything. As Jabari stated, my name is George Valdez. I'm the chief assigned to the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. I'm charged with East Patrol Division. I have the honor and privilege to command 6 stations within my command, Altadena Station being one of them. I have one of my commanders, I have 2 commanders, one of which is here tonight. He also oversees the operations of the Altadena Sheriff Station and 2 other stations within the East Patrol Division. I'm here today because I understand Captain Williams did brief the incident last time to the council, and I wanted to be available if the council had any questions regarding the incident, where we're at right now, or if there's something I could explain. I'd be more than happy to address the council with any questions you may have. I'll open it up to questions.
Where are you right now?
Okay, so the investigation, as you know, has been taken over by the Department of Justice. I can't tell you where the investigation is at this point because it's an outside entity that's investigating this case. I can tell you this. Since the inception of this team from the Department of Justice, they're fairly new, and they've been handling shootings throughout the state of California. These incidents being investigated can typically take up to a year, even up to 3 years to investigate. I can tell you for cases that have been submitted to the Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office, it's not uncommon for some of these cases to be finally reviewed and a letter of opinion be issued a year to 3 years down the line.
Sure. Are there typically milestones or benchmarks where we could expect updates, or are we waiting until the investigation is completed?
Well, we're basically at the mercy of the Department of Justice, but what we are trying to do is try to elicit some type of information because we understand that the public needs information. One of the big goals that the Sheriff's Department is trying to accomplish with our new administration is transparency in briefing the constituents of the area of what's going on. So with, I'll be calling and Captain Williams will be calling, and any information we get, we'll be sure to pass it on to you.
Go ahead, Alan.
Yes. One of the issues are the shots fired and the cameras that recorded the incident. There's been one recording released. My understanding is that there are more. Are you saying then that we will not be seeing that video until the federal investigation is over in a year or more?
That's correct, sir. Since the Department of Justice has taken over the investigation, obviously there's a lot of information they have that could compromise an investigation. So they try to retain that information until all the pieces of evidence, witness interviews are conducted to ensure that there's a very thorough and, very thorough investigation. So, and to your answer, correct. Yes, sir.
Just out of curiosity, the officers that were involved in the incident, what are they currently doing and how long are they going to be doing that?
So they're currently on administrative duties. They're not in the field. That's a common practice that we do here in the Sheriff's Department when one of these incidents takes place. It's not uncommon in other police agencies throughout the state of California. At some point in time, When the investigation is complete, there'll be a determination by the administration where to proceed with the deputies.
So these deputies will be not patrolling until the Department of Justice finishes their work.
That is correct.
Okay.
Okay, I have this has to do with equipment and, I guess, procedures of the sheriff. I understand that they don't have tasers up here in Altadena, because one of the suggestions was maybe the shooting wouldn't have happened had they had tasers.
So there are tasers here at the station. They're outdated tasers, to be quite honest. That's one of the budget goals that the sheriff has, is to buy tasers department-wide. We understand it's a value tool for our law enforcement officers to have in the field, and it's something that we're working towards. Obviously, we're working within our budgetary constraints. But I'm very optimistic with our collaboration with the Board of Supervisors and our sheriff that things will be progressing pretty soon. I say there's a lot of light at the end of the tunnel.
Okay, and, go ahead, Nick.
I'm sorry to belabor it, but obviously the community is very interested. 3 quick questions. Is there an info tip line? If somebody in the community has information for you, where can they reach out? How can they easily?
They can call 1-800-CRIME-STOPPERS if they like. They can call the station and speak to the watch commander, or they can call our internal affairs line, or our internal affairs number, all which is online. And I would encourage the public to go to our website, the www.lasd.org. There's a variety of information on there which is at a click of their fingers, that they can send information electronically, and also there's numbers on that website.
Also, knowing that it's going to take a while, has the Sheriff's Department planned on any measures to take in retraining, in improving training, or do they see the need for that?
Absolutely. Every incident that occurs is viewed. I want to explain some processes that take place. Typically, within 2 weeks after a critical incident, the department holds what's called a critical incident review panel. And basically, we have a panel of commanders that just look at issues that could be arising, like late body worn activation, maybe driving too quick. They take these information, and it's kind of like we try to get ahead of trying to train our personnel. But training is something that we're constantly doing, and once the investigation is complete by the Department of Justice, we then initiate our internal affairs investigation. When the investigation is complete, we have what's called an Executive Review Force Committee, which is a panel of commanders, the Inspector General, and a command staff who all weigh the tactics of the incident, and they rule if there's going to be discipline, or if the shooting or use of force was within or was out of policy.
Okay,
Are you done, Nick?
yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
And so my question is really around the current policy governing body cams. And I think that part of the concern with this particular incident was that the body cams were not all on and recording. So is there a policy, or has that policy been revised, that and are all deputies equipped with them that are out on patrol? And if they're out on patrol, when are they to turn them on?
So there is a policy that governs the use of body-worn camera. All our patrol stations within the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department do have body cam that are now deployed, and there's certain indicators when they're supposed to be turning them on. Basically, when they're taking any type of enforcement action or contacting the public, they shall be turned on. If they're in a pursuit, they'll be turned on. If they're responding to an emergency call with a lights and siren, they shall be turned on. So that we do have a pretty extensive policy on the body-worn camera, which it's pretty new to our department, but it's been here for about a year or 2 years now.
Okay, and they all receive training then on all of that?
That is correct.
Okay.
Okay, then I have one more thing that concerns me. When you say training, sometimes I understand that you can train somebody, but they're really in the wrong position. So you can train an officer and retrain them, but if they're mentally and physically not capable of doing that job, when do you decide to get them out? I mean, retraining someone who's just in the wrong fit for them. How do you decide that? Is that something? Because I don't really think retraining really helps. I think really some people are in the wrong occupation.
Right. So, there are certain measures we have in the department. We have progressive discipline. We have, our psychological services that involve, obviously, when we see issues that person is not competent to come, to do their jobs, there are certain measures that we take as an employer to try to rectify them. And if they're not fit for duty, obviously, that's something that we have to take them out in the field or reassign them to perhaps a civilian position. But there's a lot of paperwork. Anybody involved in EHR would know that there's so much paperwork that goes on that it's something that we have to actually document, which we do on the department.
Okay, I just think retraining needs to be rethought. Okay,
My understanding is that Mr. Town's family has brought a wrongful death lawsuit against the department. Is that true? Where does that case stand?
So is my understanding there is litigation, there is a lawsuit, and I don't know where it's at this point, sir.
And what's the standard course of action for the department in this case?
So, we don't typically comment on open litigation as an organization, but we can say that we take these incidents very seriously, and obviously, the community's trust is of utmost importance. And I understand that, an incident like this can shake the community. I know you said that, ma'am, last meeting, and, part of our job here at the Sheriff's Department is to build those gaps and try to reestablish that trust. It's really important. And I can say we have a great station captain here and a command staff that really supports him. And we hope by really collaborating with the town council and the community or the stakeholders that we progress forward and try to build that trust.
okay.
I'm just curious, the Department of Justice, how many members are on in the department, and what's the makeup? Are they judges? Are they administrative from law enforcement? What's the makeup of the actual department that is going to be reviewing this?
So I don't know the actual numbers for the Department of Justice. I know the section that investigates these type of incidents is the Bureau of Law Enforcement within the Department of Justice. And they call it a DAG, which is a Deputy Attorney General that investigates the case as well, which is then brought to the Attorney General for consideration. What would happen at that point is the Attorney General would opine to see if that shooting or critical incident was within the law, and offer a letter of an opinion, or there could be a prosecution criminally.
I have one question. Is there anything being done about the community, not about the officers, but is there an issue around that area that might need to be addressed that can possibly look at prevention? And maybe that study can help? And I'm not looking at you per se.
You are
I'm
looking at
asking
me.
the question.
It just looks like he's looking.
Yeah, it just looks like he's looking at me. That's
Because
something we could look
There's been a
into.
lot of talk around the officers and things like that, and I think they're a reaction to something that's happened within that area. And in prevention of something of this nature is, what are we doing to study so these kind of issues don't happen again? That's what I'm asking. So are we looking into any of those types of?
Yes, we do. We do have services through the district attorney's office, victim services that can help the community members that may be impacted within the community. But as far as studies, I mean, that's something that we can discuss at our command level to try to get something out there. There's a variety of different services that are offered through the Board of Supervisors, like youth development, different things that can help our community members from the onset, to really get a grasp what would say the root of what's going on.
The root of the problem,
Correct.
right, because that area might be the root of the problem. We don't know that. We're studying the officers and things and how they reacted to an issue, but I also want to see how many other issues like that have happened within that area. Just a comment.
Thank you.
Before Reggie goes, if I can remind the council, please lean into or move your microphones when you need to speak.
Go, Reggie.
Hi,
Whoa.
obviously this isn't the first time in America something like this has happened. We in Altadena think we can be better than the rest of America. And so I kind of wonder if we're providing the right incentives as an economist to officers who don't behave that way. Do their performance development reviews actually incentivize them to not shoot someone a whole bunch of times when they're already down, right? I have no evidence, I've seen nothing that leads me to conclude that really good officers are rewarded for really good behavior. And so money really speaks, right? If someone didn't do what those guys did, and are they getting a better bonus than those people who did do this? if money really can lead people to behave better, and it shows what an organization values. So if the Sheriff's Department values, the citizens in Altadena, I think the performance appraisal system should reflect that great officers get paid more. And if you shoot someone up, you really shouldn't get a whole lot of money. You should be out on your butt. And so as an economist, I think incentives, money carries behavior, and organizations want to make change, reward the people that embody the values. So just putting that out there.
Understood, sir. What I will say is this, having an opportunity to speak with the many deputies and the command staff here at Altadena Station, I can tell you they love being here. They love serving the community. And I'm very proud of the work they do. Obviously, there's a lot of things that we can do in any situation to better ourselves, and that we always have to be realist on that. But that's why we're here today, to really open these lines of communication, ensure that we're doing everything we can on our part, and obviously a big part is collaborating with not only the town council but the community members at stake.
Okay. Do we have time for one more? Okay.
Maybe we don't. In listening to the fellow council members and you speaking, I did want to kind of circle back to sort of that community-based approach. So where is the Sheriff's Department at that? And I know we've had the Explorers program here, which has done great things, and the great work of CERT, but getting the community more involved so we're kind of more together on things.
So, the sheriff, one of the things he's about transparency, accountability, and collaboration. With that is community engagement. We here, in the past, I think law enforcement has been arrest-driven, like we call about arrests. We think we're the opposite here. We're thinking about community events, community engagements. Our deputies getting to know the community, getting to know what problems they may have, maybe getting to counsel somebody and help them out. Having these etching events, coffee with the deputy, coffee with the captain, or going to some of these events, because at the end of the day, we want to ensure that we're doing everything for our community, that we're bonding with them, that we're here to serve and protect them, and also, we want them, if they join law enforcement, to come back to the communities.
Thank you.
Okay, I want to thank you for coming. What I do want to suggest, and this is something that was done, I did when I first got on the council, I did a Days of Dialogue where all the community and all the law enforcement came together. And especially down in that area where the shooting happened, if there could be not just a coffee with the captain, but a community meeting, because you see, just sitting here with us, the questions that we have, and you can imagine if you have a room full of community members and leaders and law enforcement, what a dynamic meeting you could have.
Absolutely.
And maybe having a real impact, in the future
Yes,
of
ma'am.
what happens here.
Totally
So I
agree.
would suggest, and I would gladly help put one together, and there's an organization, Days of Dialogue, that actually come and facilitates.
Those are fantastic ideas, and I know Captain Williams is taking notes right now.
Did you hear that, Captain?
Hear that?
Okay.
I wanted to echo what the
Yeah.
chair said. I think it's really important to thank you for your time and coming here during the rain, at night. This is an event among many events that have rocked this town, that's a fairly cohesive town that wants to, enjoy nature and live in peace. And I think it's really important that we recognize that you're here when we've had other situations happen, let's say at the California Highway Patrol office here in Altadena, and their captain has never come to address us and hasn't briefed us and hasn't followed up and hasn't taken questions from us live like you have tonight. So it is appreciated and it doesn't go unnoticed.
I appreciate that, and I'm honored to be here, and, we're here to serve you. This is your Sheriff's Department.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Does your,
Well,
colleague?
I just want to say in conclusion, I just wanted to take an opportunity to thank each and every one of you for what you do. It's very admirable. You have your jobs and you come here to serve your communities and be a voice for the constituents here. And that's to me, I have a lot of respect for that. So thank you for what you do.
Oh, you're welcome. And I would just want to make a comment. Reggie said money, is incentive. Well, what's our incentive? Because we don't get paid. Are we just nuts?
I think there's some mints
Okay.
back there.
Okay, thank you.
Public comments coming up.
Okay, and can, Chief Valdez, we have public comment that comes up toward the end of our meeting. You might want us hang around if you have time to see if there is public comment, or I might, if you don't mind, invite people who might want to talk to you to meet you outside the hallway and talk to you now.
Absolutely, I'll be right outside.
Okay, all
All right.
right. If someone would like to talk to him one-on-one, he's available. Okay,
Thank you, ma'am.
thank you.
I'm sorry. Just real fast, I forgot to mention the events at the station. The events are going to be at the station, so the drug take-back is going to be at the station in front of it, and the catalytic etching event will be on the side of the station. So everything's at the station, just.
Okay, thank you.
I'll share the flyers.
Okay, all right. Okay, can we have California Highway Patrol, Officer Keller, Officer Babe and Boyd? I see Officer Keller and Boyd.
Good evening, council members and members of the community. I'm Officer Keller with California Highway Patrol out of Altadena CHP office. Apologize for the tardiness, as in the course of our duties, when we come across incidents, we're required to stop and assist. Unfortunately, that happened between La Cañada's City-Town Council, City Hall meeting and coming here. So we are extra wet for this meeting. Again, I apologize for our tardiness. I came in a car with Officer Boyd today, but we were stuck out in the rain for quite some time. Okay, so February's safety report. In the month of February, we had a total of 16 traffic collisions. One of those included a bicycle collision. There was one driving under influence collision. 4 of these collisions involved injuries. 3 of them were hit and runs, and the remainder were personal property damage. As you all have been made well aware, we have had a very wet month. Traffic collisions have been on the rise. Please be cognizant of the roadway. Look over your vehicles, check tires, check those wipers, and drive with caution. I'm sure many of you guys have seen me up in this area along Altadena, down Lake, and addressing multiple of the complaints the citizens have brought to my attention, and action has been taken, and I've tried to be in contact and respond to as many as I possibly can. Again, I want to throw it out there. Please contact me if you do have any specific areas of problem areas where you're seeing high speeds, stop signs, people running stop signs. Please let me know, and I will do my best to be present in those areas and address those issues. Other than that, that's all I have for tonight's report, unless you have any questions.
I do want to thank you for being more present. I've seen you. My new driving son has seen you. And it definitely hit him hard when we drove a little over the speed limit past you. I also wanted to, remind the CHP that the community and the council have not forgotten the ongoing investigation of Edward Bronstein's death in custody of the CHP, and we're eager to hear updates and the outcome of the ongoing investigation. I assume you'll keep us posted when those are available.
Of course.
Okay. Any? That's it? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Have a good evening.
Okay.
Thank you so
Stay
much.
safe.
Be safe.
Okay. We're going to move on to LA County Fire. Ms. Grecken. Marie Grecken.
Good evening. The report for February. For the month of February, there were a total of 325 responses. 253 of those were for medical calls, and we transported 191 patients. We responded to 7 traffic collisions, including 1 into a structure and 1 versus a pedestrian. And the one into a structure, it sounds deceiving, it was the homeowner who was pulling into his garage and then at the end mistakenly hit the gas instead of the brake and went into the back of the garage. We had 3 fires. One was a chimney fire. Luckily, no damage. It was confined to the chimney. And then we had another fire, didn't cause any damage, but it's just listed as an other fire. There were no details available. And then 1 vehicle fire on Casitas. And we had 3 instances of power lines down. And then our safety tip of the month is about cooking, preventing home fires while you're cooking. Never leave the kitchen when frying, grilling, or boiling food. Wear short, close-fitting, or tightly rolled-up sleeves. One of the things that we see a lot of is the like robes or something with long flowing sleeves, and then it catches the burner. So that's really important to prevent that. Never use water to extinguish a grease fire. You put the lid on the pan or use baking soda or a dry chemical fire extinguisher. And keep children at least 3 feet away from cooking areas around the stove.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Any question? Oh.
Yeah.
Pilot lights, do you have any kind of direction around pilot lights? Do they, community just calls the gas company? 'Cause I
If
know
it's,
that
if
there's a lot-
it's the hot water heater, the gas company has to light that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you. And thank you for your tips.
You're welcome.
I'm getting to the age where I walk away and I forget I left the water on. I go back, oh yeah, I had the water on. But okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Okay, now we have our Red Cross proclamation from Deb Haberstad. Do every year.
Right, we do it every year. I'm Deb Halberstadt. I'm the civilian volunteer leader for the Red Cross here in Altadena. And I want to thank you for listening to this. March is Red Cross Month, and it's been celebrated since 1943. And every year that I've been the CVL or civilian volunteer leader, I've come to do this. I read a proclamation, and whoever is the chair signs it, and that's the way it is. I just need to remind you that the Red Cross is a huge organization that does a huge amount of things for our country. So, during American Red Cross Month in March, we celebrate the humanitarian spirit of Altadena and reaffirm our commitment to help ensure no one faces a crisis alone. Caring for one another is at the heart of our community and exemplified by the people of Altadena, whose simple acts of kindness through the Red Cross provide help and hope in people's most difficult moments. Continuing the life-saving legacy of Clara Barton, who founded the organization more than 140 years ago to prevent and alleviate human suffering. Every day, these ordinary individuals lend a helping hand to make an extraordinary difference for neighbors in need, whether it's providing emergency shelter, food and comfort for families displaced by home fires and other disasters, donating life-saving blood for cancer patients, accident victims, and people with sickle cell disease, and other life-threatening conditions. Supporting military members and veterans along with their families and caregivers through the unique challenges of service, using vital skills like first aid and CPR to help others survive medical emergencies, or delivering international humanitarian aid and reconnecting loved ones separated by crisis around the world. Their support, volunteerism, and generous donations are critical to our community's resilience. We hereby recognize this month of March in honor of those who fulfill Clara Barton's noble words, "You must never think of anything except the need and how to meet it," and ask everyone to join in this commitment. You, Veronica.
Well, yes.
You were going to read your paragraph, remember?
Oh.
That's your
Do
cue.
it every year.
That was your cue, every year.
I messed it up. Sorry about that. I left the water boiling.
Water's up.
Okay. Okay, in witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand this 21st day of March in the year of our Lord 2023, and in the Altadena, Los Angeles County, California. So I will sign this and make it so.
Thank you. Make it so. We've heard that, haven't we?
Thank you.
Thanks, Deb.
Thank you, Deb. Thank you. Sorry about that. Okay, thank you. I just want to say real quick, we have someone who loves the town council so much, he decided to show up again, even though he didn't run again out in the audience. I just want to point him out there. So we have our ex-council member out here in the audience watching. That's how much fun it is being here. So thank you, Daryl, for showing up, supporting us. And I also see Chris Holden's Phil rep. Is she there? Yeah, there she is. Ann Higginbottom in the audience. Okay, go ahead.
We're about to move on to our special presentation. Before we start, I did see a number of people come in after we started the meeting. If you intend to make public comment, which we're moving our way down the agenda toward that, please fill out a public comment card, which is on the back table. Dr. Skidmore, please do so. And then if you'd hand them in to any of the council members at the end, that'd be great. Thank you.
Okay, so we move on to special presentations. LED street lighting conversion. Eric Guzman.
Hi, everybody. I'm not Eric Guzman, but I'm going to be introducing him. My name is Steve Berger. I'm Deputy Director for Transportation with Los Angeles County Public Works. And it's good to see you. There's a few of you from the council that I've worked with through my numerous years at Public Works, and I see a few familiar faces in the crowd, so it's good to see you all. I was here last month as well when we talked about our traffic safety study that we put together. So we're here today to talk about streetlights and what's going to be a streetlight conversion. Los Angeles County owns about 30,000 streetlights. And about 3,000 of those are in your community. And the streetlights at some point do need to be converted. They're not going to be making the old bulbs anymore, so they do need to go LED. There's a lot of good advantages to LED. You save about 50% in energy costs, and of course we know all the good goes with that. They tend to provide a more even light, which is safer. So that's another exciting thing that comes with that. But, really, we want to really just meet and talk about this with the community. Transparency is important to us, going through our process with you so you understand it, and then just as importantly, seeking input to make sure what we're doing is going to work. So we've had success with the LED conversions we've done so far. They've been successful, and the communities have really embraced them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this over to Eric. Elaine Kunitaki, by the way, our Assistant Deputy Director, is also here with us to listen in. I'm going to turn this over to Eric. He's going to explain the process. He's going to explain the balance we've reached. We think we've come up with a nice balance between street safety and neighborhood-friendly light design. So he's going to go through that with you. He's our subject matter expert. So with that, I'll turn it over to Eric.
Good evening. I am Eric Guzman. Thank you for having me here. I'm with LA County Public Works Street Lighting Section. I am the project manager for the streetlight acquisition and LED conversion project, which is going to have an impact in Altadena and all the unincorporated communities throughout LA County. So I'll go ahead. I know I'm limited on time. I'll go ahead and get started. So just to provide a brief overview, LA County administers approximately 64,000 streetlights throughout the unincorporated county areas and across over 80 communities. Prior to 2020, most of the streetlights were, I would say about 99% of the streetlights were owned and operated by Edison. Back in 2012, they opened up a program to allow cities and counties to purchase the streetlights within their jurisdictions. Okay. So as part of the acquisition program, the county did enroll in the program so we could acquire streetlights within our jurisdiction. And as of December of last year, the acquisition program did end. We did acquire approximately 30,000 streetlights, which is about 40% of the entire inventory. Now, the reasons we decided to move forward with acquiring streetlights, two main reasons. First off, we feel that we could provide improved levels of service. We feel that we could have quicker response times than Edison can. Another advantage is that we do have local control over the design and capital improvements. So Edison covers a vast area. Whenever they implement a guideline, it's across the board, including Riverside County, San Bernardino County, Ventura County. By the county owning some of the streetlights, we have more control and flexibility on how to manage those streetlights. Now in Altadena, we did complete the acquisition maybe 3-4 months back. So like Steve said, there is about 3,300 streetlights within Altadena. Of the ones that were sellable, we were only able to purchase about 1,000 from Edison, so about 31%. The rest are still under Edison ownership, which is about 70%. One of the main reasons why we couldn't purchase, the 50-50 split like we did with other communities is because in Altadena, there are a lot of wood poles, a lot of utility poles. Edison would not sell streetlights that were attached to utility poles. So this is the current makeup. There is, you'll see just from the image, there are some areas where you could have an Edison streetlight next to a county-owned streetlight. So the next slide, if you don't mind, Dorothy. What to look for when you report an outage. Now that we have this mixed bag of streetlight ownership, the easiest and simplest way to remember it is if you see the yellow tag, it's an Edison pole. Anything else would be county pole. You may come across some poles that have 2 tags. If that's the case, you go ahead and contact the county. We'll forward the call appropriately to whoever repairs that streetlight. But again, yeah, the easiest way is if you see the yellow tag, it's Edison owned. Everything else would be county owned. Okay, so on to LED conversion. Now that the streetlights have been acquired, the county started moving forward with the conversion of the streetlights that were purchased. To date, we've converted about 23,500 of the streetlights that we purchased, of the 30,000.
Typically the streetlights?
Yes, it already went through it went through the PUC, yes. We signed the agreements, it went through the court, the PUC.
I just wasn't sure
system.
what you meant
Yeah.
by that. So.
Yeah. So again, yeah, 78% of the streetlights we purchased from Edison have been converted to LED. That's across 50+ communities. We do anticipate to complete sometime in the fall of this year. Up there, you do see a map, kind of where you see the green, specs. That's where we've already completed our LED conversion. Where you see the blue, that's where we're kind of waiting on Edison to start they've already started their LED conversion, but for them to, make progress, they just started last month. So yeah, as far as the Edison-owned streetlights, they've converted about 20% of their streetlights, but nothing yet in Altadena. Okay, so some of the concerns that we've heard over the years regarding LED conversion. I try to summarize the main ones here in this slide. The first one being the brightness of the LED lighting. It's not so much that the LED lights are brighter. We actually maintain the same illumination level as the existing high-pressure sodium lightings, which you're accustomed to. The difference is that the color temperature is different. So color temperature is a measure of the color of the light that's being emitted. So as an example, you see the spectrum there. A low color temperature could be like a candle, the light from a candle. It's kind of reddish, orange, that sort of thing. As opposed to on the other end of the spectrum, the higher Kelvin temperature, you're looking at probably daylight. Bright sunny day, no clouds in the sky, that's a high color temperature. So with the LED conversion, your existing high pressure sodium lighting is at a 2200 Kelvin color temperature. We've decided to work with Edison to try and get, we were originally going to go with the 3000 Kelvin temperature. We decided to work with Edison to see if we could get it down to 2700. We felt that this was the best recommended sweet spot for the LED conversion in Altadena. It's not as high impact as the 3000 Kelvin, but it still provides the benefits of nighttime visibility. If we could go back, Dorothy, yeah. Point number 2, There's been issues or concerns regarding glare, light trespass, and questions about dimming and filters. So the fixtures that are being used by LA County and Edison, the optics are recessed into the housing, which kind of creates a built-in shield. So additional shielding will likely not be required. We could look at it on a case-by-case basis, but we've gotten pretty good responses with this type of fixture, not just the Edison fixture, but the county fixture as well. And also, it's very directional. LED lighting is very directional, so it's focused on the ground. It doesn't spill over, so you don't waste that energy. And then the last one is dark sky compliance. I know this is a big one for the community. Your existing high-pressure sodium lighting is not dark sky compliant. If you look at the pictures there of LA from 2002 and then 2012, you see the light pollution. So that's currently what the HPS streetlights are doing as far as light pollution and not being dark sky compliant. So the LEDs we install are all dark sky compliant. They all shine light down to the ground. There is no light above the plane of the fixture. Some additional benefits, of course, energy consumption. There is an energy aspect to it, efficiency of about 50% compared to your existing high-pressure sodium lighting, which also leads to a reduced carbon footprint. Also, LEDs have a 4 times longer lasting than HPS, high-pressure sodium, which means less calls for service. You don't have to worry these last for about 10 to 15 years, so there's less calls from the public about outages, less outages. Light quality and control. You get improved uniformity. This is a big one. In the image, figure 1-1, you'll notice that on the left, there's dark spots in between the street lights. This is a low uniformity that is caused by high-pressure sodium lighting. With the LED lighting, you get more uniformity. You don't get that pool of black between the different street lights. This is also important as a driver because when you're driving down the street and you're under a light and then it gets dark and then you're under a light, it actually tires your eyes out. It reduces your alertness. So it's important to have uniformity, lighting uniformity. And then, of course, enhanced nighttime visibility. Again, because of the color temperature, you do see colors in their truer form versus your HPS streetlights, where if you're under one of these lights, you kind of get an orange hue from someone's clothes. You don't get the true color that you're seeing. And then the last thing, which Steve also mentioned, high-pressure sodium are becoming obsolete. They're hard to come by now. So, eventually, this is a new technology. It's no different than the incandescent bulb that, is no longer, we can't purchase anymore. So for Altadena, this is currently your inventory based off lamp type. So the majority is high-pressure sodium, 88%. Excuse me. You do have some metal halide. Metal halide is a technology that kind of came after high-pressure sodium, but before LED, it didn't quite take off. And then an advanced technology. Now, you do have LEDs in Altadena, and these weren't as part of a conversion. These were part of maybe like a streetlight request. Someone wanted a new streetlight installed. The standard is to install an LED streetlight. Some of these are in-house projects where we went ahead and did a conversion. I believe right there on Washington Boulevard was a larger project. So these are locations that we have LEDs if anyone wants to go and take a look at them. I will say that these are 3,000 Kelvin. We would be wanting to convert these to 2,700, which is, lower impact. Yep. Okay, and just to finish up, I wanted to provide this information regarding how to report outages, request streetlights, et cetera. For the county, I think the best way is to use the Works app. It's very easy. It uses the location of your phone to, report outages, and it knows, instead of having to put the address, it has the coordinates on where to repair the streetlights. And same with the Edison app. It's similar. You can also report outages through the Edison app. Some information that should be provided, of course, the issue and location of the issue, but we always recommend to include the pole number as well. A lot of times we do receive calls with an address, but there could be 2 poles in front of that address, so it's difficult to determine which street light is out. So those are just some tips if you ever need to report an outage or have any other request. And repair times are typically within 5 business days. Edison is usually between 3 to 5 business days. We've been trying to get it down to 2 to 3 business days for our county-owned poles. And that's my information. And we do have a project website as well. Is there any questions?
I have one question. You had indicated that Edison and the county own most of the streetlights.
Correct.
And this project is going to replace what percentage of streetlights? The county's going, I mean, from Edison and the county are doing the same project.
Correct.
And are you replacing all of the current streetlights, and the project is going to cover at one point 100%?
Correct, yes.
Whatever is not this current LED will be converted to LED?
Correct.
By the end of?
We still don't have a timeline. That's
but
when we came to the council.
ETA is?
For the total project?
Yeah.
Fall of 2023.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Dorothy?
Hi, Eric. Thank you so much for the presentation. It's really exciting to see the conversion happening. And then my question would be, a lot of streets, especially corridor streets like Altadena Drive, Fair Oaks north of Altadena Drive, for example, and other streets where the lighting is on one side of the street.
Yes.
So do you feel strongly, potentially confident, we'll be looking more especially at North Fair Oaks, where amazingly enough, because the street is sloped and the lights are on the uphill side, right now the downhill side of Fair Oaks, north of Altadena Drive, is actually very dark. So I'm hopeful that will
Yeah.
illuminate a little bit more.
Yeah, the LEDs would definitely provide higher visibility at nighttime.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what they're designed to do.
Do you guys think you're going to start at a particular section of Altadena, or you don't know that yet?
We don't know, but if anyone has a preference, we'd definitely take it into consideration, yeah.
Yeah.
If we want to start in a certain,
Assuming you're starting a number of locations, you're not starting just one location.
well, correct, they run through the different thoroughfares, yeah.
But it'll take a duration of a couple of months, or?
Um, Edison would probably get it done for their Edison-owned poles about a month. And then for the county-owned poles, about a month as well, yeah.
And then if anybody in the community wants to add a light in their lighting district, who should they contact?
They could contact LA County Public Works Street Lighting. The information was up on the presentation. Yeah.
Thank you.
But that's a great question, because I also caveats, if you're sharing your responsibility with Edison, just because I see an Edison pole with a yellow tag, does that mean if I want an additional light, does that mean Edison would be responsible for the additional light? Because you don't really know how that's all divvied up. There was a percentage of who owns what, so if I call you and you say, we're not taking any more requests for that location, you need to call, who controls that?
Well, we would look into that. We would have to determine whether additional lighting is warranted. If you already have streetlights there and they meet the minimum illumination levels, we wouldn't add any additional lighting.
And are parks included?
Parks?
Yes.
No, it's only roadways, public roadways.
Okay.
It goes back to Dorothy's questions about how it's going to be rolled out geographically, because if people, I'm not saying it'd be a pilot, but if people are having issues, you probably want to find out, and maybe the color temperature is too dark, or maybe it's too bright. If people know when it's going to happen in that area, you could find out if you're having issues before you roll it out everywhere. So it'd be useful to have an idea where it's going to be, so we can let folks know to be on the lookout, as it were.
Yeah, there is actually plans to send out mailers to all the residents to give them kind of a heads up. The work is low impact. It's very quick. It's 10 minutes per streetlight. Rarely is there a closure. So they fly right by, yeah. Probably won't even notice. But yes, we do intend to do additional community outreach to include flyers to be mailed out to all the residents. We also do social media. We do the next door postings. And of course, we also have the website.
Very quick.
I do want to thank Altadena Heritage as well for really kind of helping champion some of the light temperature change. And so thank you. And again, our love of trees and the mix of lights and the dynamics of our streets are just like Altadena. So it is going to take us also being aware of all of that. So thank you.
Thank you for coming.
All
Thank
right.
you for the presentation.
Thank you for having me. My pleasure.
Thank you. You're welcome. Okay, we're going to move on to our community reports. We have Park and Rec. We have Ryan Hicks. He's all dressed up for us, too. All right.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for having me. My name is Ryan Hicks. I'm sports coordinator for Loma Alto Park. Just a quick update. We just wrapped up our basketball season, our district league. Loma Alto Park's Division 5 teams went undefeated, so we took them to Crypto Arena this past weekend to have a game before the Clipper game. So, yeah, so that was great. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Also, during that, they played our highlights from our Parks After Dark program on the Jumbotron during halftime of the game. In honor of Women's History Month, we highlighted some of the women that volunteered their time from the WNBA, the actresses, the students who are just trailblazing now. Some of the coaches won the high school basketball championship. Some are actresses that just landed big roles. Sparky, the mascot for the WNBA, came out, so we put that on the Jumbotron so they can see what we're doing in our local communities and our parks. Like I said, we just finished up basketball, and we're going to head into baseball, softball, t-ball, which goes from April to June. And since there's no more basketball, there's open gyms, and we have the times, which is Monday, Wednesdays, and Saturdays. And you guys can see the flyers I put back there as well. We also have Parks After Dark coming up again on April 6th and April 8th at Loma Alto Park. So you can come out and check out. There's canvas painting, there's tie-dye stations, food tasting, karaoke, dancing, games, and prizes. And on Wednesday, the 7th, we're going to be at Charles Farnsworth Park for their Parks After Dark. And they're going to be there Wednesday from 5:10 to 6 o'clock p.m. 7 and 11-year-olds. They're gonna have jazzy ballet, so you guys can check out the flyer that's in the back for jazzy ballet at Farnsworth Park. And then Spring Jubilee will be coming up for Loma Alto Park, which is gonna be on Saturday, April 8th, from 11 to 2 p.m. And then Farnsworth Park is going to be Friday, April 7th, from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. So make sure you guys check that out. And there's going to be raffles, egg hunt, arts and crafts, food tasting, and more. And that's it for Loma Alto Park.
Thank you very much. Dorothy has a question for you.
This is so very exciting. Thank you so much. Looking forward to all the contract classes happening as well. And the strategic plan was, I don't know if you were there or.
Yes, I was there with Carl Cooper and
Yeah, so is there a quick little?
Oh, yeah, so the strategic plan, they held it at Loma Alto Park, and it's just going over all the things that the parks have in mind and what they're putting into plan, and you can check the website out for all the details.
Thank you.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
And all the flyers and information will be on our website.
All right, and on the back table in case you guys want to see
Yeah.
it.
You have a question every time, no? I'm just teasing. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I don't understand how the parks, this project for lighting doesn't cover parks. And I just wonder why the illumination study doesn't really look at if I'm going to light up the streets, that I need to light up the parks. Parks After Dark seem like they need lights in the park. If the lights in the park are the old illumination or the old, lights, then they're not going to be compliant. They're not going to be able to be replaced. I don't know who controls that or where that money goes or how that's, funded. So I'm just saying it's something
That's a
I
good-
would
I mean, it's a
maybe
good
look to the
point.
Parks and Recreation Department. This representative probably doesn't want to be asked that question because that's not his area of expertise. Is that somewhere where we need to go and ask that question? Because there's a project out there to replace these lights. How far does it go?
Yeah, it would be San Estrada, or I would think Public Works would be the start of that,
Well, that's where I
right?
was just at. Public Works was right here, and that's not part of
Okay,
their
so,
project.
Start with Sam.
yeah, Sam Estrada.
I would email him.
I
Yeah.
can get you his info, Rod.
Yeah, I think, we'll work on it.
Okay.
You. Okay, next, we have the library.
Okay.
Oh,
Good
you have
evening. I'm Bryn Wall. I'm with the Altadena Libraries. Thank you for having me. And I just wanted to give a quick update on some of the things that are happening at the library this month. There's the PowerPoints. Okay. We can go to the next slide. We are currently looking for a teen librarian, and this job description and how to apply is listed on our website. And we are going through the first review of applications on March 31st. So if you know anyone who has the qualifications and a lot of enthusiasm, please recommend that they apply for this. And I'm done. Teen librarian is teen services librarian, so it's generally, it's an adult position, yes. It's an actual librarian with an MLS degree. I should specify it's a teen services position. We are also in the process of going through a redistricting, and what that means is our Board of Trustees passed a resolution in June of 2019 to form 5 districts for future elections for our Board of Trustees rather than the seats being at large. And we are working with the National Demographics Corporation through this process. 3 proposed draft maps are now available on our website, and we have 2 more public meetings regarding this issue. One will be this Saturday at 10 a.m. at the main library, and then also it'll be covered at our board meeting in April, on Monday, April 24th. As everybody knows, we are also buildings project, and we will be presenting the main design to ACONA next week. We are also looking at exploring additional street parking as part of the main library design. The Bob Lucas conditional use permit is still in process. And for the latest information on this project, you can also find it on our website. For this month, we are highlighting 2 of our technologies that are available to all library patrons. The first one is Cloud Library, which lets you borrow digital content like ebooks, audiobooks, and it's for a collection of more than 140,000 items. We also, our patrons are also able to access Hoopla and listen to original soundtracks. There's a Great Courses video collection. There's a comic book collection. There's movies, ebooks, audiobooks. There's an absolute plethora of information that people can borrow through that app. And if you have any questions, you're always welcome to come into the library or give us a call, and any of our public service people can help walk you through that if you need some help with it. So for some of the events coming up, we have the last 2 Poets Laureate for the 2022-23 season. There's an event currently going on right now, but the next 2 events are, the first one is a special reading for National Poetry Month on Tuesday, April the 4th from 6 to 8 p.m. at the main library. And then we are also going to have our annual Poetry and Cookies, which will be on Saturday, April 29th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the main library as well. These events, if you're not able to attend, are also live streamed on our YouTube channel. This month, we celebrated Women's History Month. We still have we have one event still to come, which is a indoor movie night featuring Black Panther Wakanda Forever on Friday, March 31st from 7:30 to 10 at the main library. We currently have book displays at both the main library and Bob, as well as a carousel on our website. And earlier this month on International Women's Day, we did some social posts highlighting 2 of the Read Local, Shop Local partners that are women-owned businesses, Callista Tea House and Altadena Ale House. There's some music coming to the Altadena Libraries this month. On this Sunday, March 26th at 3 p.m., the Mount Low Chamber Players concert will be there. And we have another second Saturday coming up very quickly on Saturday, April 8th from 7 to 9 at the main library. It'll be Rhythms of the Village. And then on Saturday, April 15th at 11 a.m., we are having African drummer Chaz Ross, who was actually part of our summer reading program last year. He will lead an all-ages audience on a colorful musical safari. We also have quite a few things with art going on at the Altadena Libraries this month. On Saturday, April 8th from 10:30 to 1, our new Fab Lab will be working with the Corita Art Center and sharing approaches to art making with the Corita Art Center. There'll be a presentation as well as a hands-on exploration of our Fab Lab afterward. On Saturday, April 15th, at 11 a.m. at the main library, we have a 3x3 workshop called Balance, Biodiversity, and Artist Representation. And then for the rest of this month, you are invited to stop by the main library to check out the Amigos de los Rios Emerald Necklace exhibition. There's also a few community programs going on at Altadena Library. This Saturday, on March 25th at 2 p.m., we're happy to host the Civic Story and Ongoing Legacy of Owen Brown, not Owen Brown, but Owen Brown, with historian Michelle Zach, and this is in partnership with the Pasadena Village. We are also going to be hosting a stargazing with scientists from Carnegie Science Observatories at the Bob Lucas Library on Wednesday, April 5th from 7:30 to 9 p.m. And on Tuesday, April 11th from 3 to 7, we will be having a ChapCare Health Insurance Enrollment Workshop, and this will be happening monthly at the library from here through the rest of the year. So thank you very much for your time, and if anyone has any questions, you can also find all of this information on our website.
Okay, I want to make a quick note. Rhythms of the Village, we have one of the starring performers right here, Alan Peck, with us. He's in Rhythm of the Village, so he'll be at the library. Yeah. And also, I want to just let you know, Cloud and I call it Hoopla. Hoopla. They're amazing. They're amazing. I use them at least 2 or 3 times a week, getting books and music and things. And I just do it from my phone. So it's really amazing. So, okay, let's move on to the Chamber of Commerce. We have Judy Matthews, one of our own. Come on, Judy. Judy is also a former council member for 6 years. You were here? Yep. Okay.
Okay, good evening. As we enjoy the beginning of spring, Altadena Chamber of Commerce, its members have some exciting events planned to get our community members out and about. The Altadena Guild of Huntington Memorial Hospital's 70th home and garden tour is coming soon, so I hope most of you, if not all of you, will be there. And if you have not purchased your tickets for the home tour or submitted your registration form, that means your community organizations, you can submit your booth form registration. You must do so by April 7th. And those registration information goes to me because I'm responsible for the community booth. The Melodina Mariposa is hosting a spring concert featuring Gypsy, Roma music, and jazz at Altadena Town and Country Club on March 26th at 7 p.m. Supervisor Catherine Barker will be addressing the state of the community before the Chamber membership on March 30th. This member-only event will be virtual. Supervisor Barker is the beginning of our first speaker series for 2023. The Altadena auction to benefit the Altadena Elliott Magnets annual fundraiser is March 30th at 6 p.m. at Altadena Town and Country Club. Information for this and any other events are available on our Chamber's website at altadenachamber.org. Thank you and have a wonderful evening.
Oh, wow, okay. Very well. Okay, we're gonna move on to ACAB. Are you ready, Pat?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, I think we could almost replay the information that Doug gave you all last month, but the more times you hear it, the more chances we have that people will actually come. To please save the date on Saturday, July the 8th, when we celebrate the 20th anniversary of the community center. Hopefully by next month I'll have some more specific details, but we can guarantee that you're going to have, there'll be people there. Some of them may talk. There'll be food, there'll be music, and we'd like as many people to come that can. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and before we move on, I want to introduce Susie Niemer. Is she still here? Okay, you want to come up here? Up here.
She doesn't, but she's going to now.
Susie is from Catherine Barger's office, and she's our.
Good evening, everyone.
Yeah.
I didn't know she was calling me up here, but okay.
Yeah. So just introduce and just tell.
So my name is Susie Niemer. I'm the senior field deputy for Supervisor Barger. I've actually worked in the office for almost 24 years. Done a little bit of everything. I started as an intern, and whenever you have concerns, county related or not, give me a call. My office number is 626-356-5407, and I usually am lingering in the back, and if I'm not, I'm usually watching it, so I always hear the comments at the meetings. So, but thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. And she's the one that helps us solve our problems. We put them on her plate, and then she takes them and solves them for us. So, but thank you. Okay. Yes?
I know that there are some people that want to make public comment today. If you want to make a public comment, you need to pick up a form in the back table. Looks like this.
So if you don't have, and the person that submitted it is sitting over here, I see him, and you're coming up soon.
So if you would like
So
to
if
make a
you have
public
any-
comment,
does
pick
anybody
up the
else?
form,
Yep.
fill it out, and hand it to either of these gentlemen on the end of the dais.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so now we're coming to our committee reports, and that's, the first one is 6.1, Safe Streets. Dorothy Wong.
Thank you, Councilmember Jones, Chair Jones. So quick updates. The Altadena Safe Streets Traffic Safety and Mobility Committee is your committee, our committee. We're looking definitely for representation from each census tract, and it's got some really great ebbs and flows of participation since its inception. So our next meeting, you can find it on the Town Council website under committees, the fourth Thursday of each month. So actually, even though this is the third Tuesday of the month, the fourth Thursday is actually this Thursday. So it's via Zoom join, and what we're going to be working through is the directive from Supervisor Barger, review of pedestrian and traffic safety, and then Public Works report, and then just community members are sharing some really great thoughts and ideas regarding the directive, and it's a really great conversation. So join the conversation at 7 o'clock, and you can find how to sign on at Altadena Town Council Safe Streets Committee. And then the other quick thing is Metro Micro is doing a survey as they're rounding out the pilot. I think they just got a 6-month extension. But with that, posted on the town council website on the Safe Streets Committee how you can take the survey. It's a winter survey on how Metro Micro is working or not working, or how you use it. So check that out, and lucky winners will actually get a $100 gift card. Not everybody. So take the survey and help that. And the other cool thing that just happened at the Altadena Trails Working Group meeting is the Shady Lane Trail is going to find its wings. There was a grant approved for that, and that will be in connection of the trail from the Loma Alta staging area to Sunset Ridge and Loma Alta. So exciting things coming up, and their next meeting is April 11th, Tuesday at 7 p.m. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we move on to our Education Committee. Victoria Knapp.
Good evening, everyone. I wanted to publicly recognize that for the first time in the history of the school, the Blair boys basketball team won their CIF division. So a round of applause. It was very exciting, and they were bumped up a division for the state championship, and they were eliminated in round 2, but it was a very exciting time to be a Blair Viking. And I say that with due respect for Madeline Barber, who's no longer with us because she's a Blair graduate as well. I have a couple of public comments that I'm going to yield some time to, so if I could have Elias and Dr. Skidmore come forward to the podium. And while they're making their way up, I just wanted to let the community know that tomorrow, the 22nd at 6 p.m. at Marshall is the annual Women's History Month celebration, essay reading and art exhibit. The theme this year is My Body, My Choice, Our Rights. So that's tomorrow at Elliott. Peter Pan is coming to Elliott. This is a musical. It's Broadway production worthy. So if you would like to go, you can buy tickets online. This is April 13th through 15th, and it is a school-wide performance, kindergartners through 8th graders. They will be flying, so it'll be a very exciting event, so please come to that. And save the date for Art Walk. This is an annual event that we do between Altadena Arts Magnet and Elliott Art Magnet. This is on April 26th. It starts at 5:30. Most of our local dignitaries will be there. It is a display of student art, and it starts at Altadena Arts and it walks through up Mariposa to Elliott. So that is 5:30 on April 26th between Altadena Arts Magnet and Elliott. And I would like to, for public comment on this.
Okay, just a
Go ahead.
second. I'm going to interrupt you just a second. I'm going to have Ann Hickenbottom. She has to leave.
Okay.
So she has, so Ann, you want to come up? And,
Education Committee.
oh, you're doing,
Yeah,
but you're doing
educate-
public comment?
Comment on Education Committee events. Okay, what? Okay, go.
Okay, come on, Ann. We're moving on to public comment, and then you can go.
I thank you for your indulgence. I got a text, my sister locked herself out, so I just need to go pick her up. But I wanted to make greetings from Assemblymember Chris Holden, but also make an exciting announcement in case you haven't already heard that your illustrious chairperson, Veronica Jones, has been selected as his 8041 Woman of Distinction representing Altadena. So I just wanted to have I wanted to have a personal public forum to say that. Nope.
I called you up for it. But go ahead.
And yeah, it'll be in all the newspapers. And there'll be a special celebration sometime in April, and for the illustrious women who've been selected, and we'll let you know that. So again, thank you for the time. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead and come up. Thank you guys so much for waiting. I know it's very late for middle schoolers to be out on a school night. It's very loud.
We all saw that.
Introduce yourself and then go ahead. You have 2 minutes.
Right. Good evening. I'm Elias Silva, and I'm in the 8th grade, and I attend Elliott Arts Magnet, the community middle school here in Altadena. And my friend here and I are both members in ASB, the Associative Student Body, and we are here tonight to present you and the community our annual gala event coming up on March 30th, 2023. The funds raised are used to help support the art programs we have at the school. I myself am in graphic design, dance, piano, I'm in choir, and I have been casted as a pirate and an ostrich in our upcoming musical, as you mentioned, Peter Pan. And I'm happy to be a student at Elliott Arts because I feel the teachers are very supportive and have prepared me for high school next year. And I'm gonna pass it on to my friend Madden here. So.
Hi, I'm Madden. I am a student at Elliott Arts Magnet in the Associated Student Body, like he mentioned. I am the assistant stage director for Peter Pan. I am a drama student, and I am in the 7th grade. He pretty much covered everything we were gonna say, so.
Tell everybody what the event is, what time, and how they can get tickets.
All right, so hold that up.
There you go.
It's the Altadena auction. It's a one-night charity event for the benefit of Altadena's Elliott Arts Magnets Annual Fund. It is starting at 6 p.m. and March 30th, as I said before. It's at the Altadena Town and Country Club. And we thank you for allowing us to present today, and we wanted to share that we are also thankful for the many local Altadena businesses that have generously supported us with the donations to our auction.
Yay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
We encourage you to attend our event in support of our school. To purchase tickets, you may go to pusd.us/Elliott. The first tile on the homepage is for the Altadena auction, and the second tile is for Peter Pan. Thank you and good night.
And you, very good. Thank you. Okay, Dr. Skidmore.
Hello. Could you hold the posters out there? Hello, Town Council members. My name is Warren Skidmore. I'm joined here with some colleagues. I'll explain as we go down. The Pasadena Unified School District's 2023 Science Fest is taking place on Saturday, April 22nd at John Muir High School. We have more than 80 confirmed groups, and all the PUSD schools are involved. Many of the groups are student clubs and groups from colleges and universities in the area. This is a free event for all families, all students, students of all ages from across the PUSD region. So all schools in the region are welcome to attend. It's a community event. It really bridges between a lot of the local community that's here. Kevin, Dart, I saw Officer Boyd and Deputy Hardis, and all these folks are all coming. But we've got things like, let's see, JPL Space Missions, Blacksmithing Emergency Services, SpaceX, TV and film, utility providers, LA County. They're all coming to this big event. We expect to be a couple of thousand people come, visitors that are coming in. We've got hundreds of volunteers to run the thing. So the aim is to not only inspire students and show all the possibilities for careers in technology, medicine, STEM fields, that sort of thing, but to show the educational pathways, career pathways that the students can follow. And there's some of the Science Fest committee here. It's all volunteers. There's no budget for this thing. It's all done through begging and borrowing. And it's going to be a really big event. Hundreds, couple of thousand people are going to be there. I'm frightened with what we've set ourselves up to do. It's pretty amazing. But these folks are doing a great job. Helen's doing lots of advertising for us. Akari is working on the website. Akari is an Elliott alum and is over at PHS. So I'm really thankful for them. And all the schools were invited to show how they teach STEM, how they encourage STEM in their students. And Lily had a little project that she would like to say. Do you want to just start? Oh, there you go. Okay. Well, let me. So Lily is in Miss Rogopoulos' class at Altadena Elementary, and she did a project about butterflies. You want to say it?
Hi, Miss Rogopoulos class at Altadena Arts Magnet. We learned about monarch butterflies and their life cycle. We made a wheel that shows the life cycle. The first part of the life cycle is the adult butterfly laying their eggs on the milkweed. Then the caterpillar hatches, eats their shell. They eat a lot of milkweed, then changes into a pupa or chrysalis, where they'll undergo metamorphosis for a couple of weeks, turning into an adult butterfly. They hatch out, and it takes 3 hours for their wings to straighten and harden. Once the weather gets cold, they migrate to Mexico to a special forest. They come back once it's almost spring. They lay the eggs again. The life cycle keeps on happening.
Show the card. So all the schools do art projects to teach STEM, and we want to highlight that at the Science Fest. So we hope that to see you and your families and lots of community members down there. April the 22nd, John Muir High School, a free event. It's going to be huge. Thanks very much.
Okay, as we're going to, we have. Oh, sorry, Nick. Oh, sorry, Nick.
Chair,
Go.
I'd like to yield the time for my committee report, and I'll make the council aware of what our committee is up to.
Great.
Thank you.
Did you need to speak next? Or you wanted this to? We're going to do regular general public comment. I wanted to call up Lynette Weeb. And then we have several comments around the same item. So once Lynette come up to the podium, you have 2 minutes, just FYI, he'll time you. And then we're going to call up the group regarding the mural on the west side of town. So Lynette, go ahead and go.
Hi, I'm Lynette. I live in the Meadows. I was not expecting to do this, but I'll just go for it. I got a letter a couple of months ago in winter from Nuccio saying they'd sold a property to Polytechnic so they could run a garden, and I thought, you know, you've got too much money when you bus kids to another city to do a garden. And then I just recently found out through a flyer at Altadena Hardware last week that they're planning to build a sports complex. I live very close to that. A lot of my friends live very close to that. We're very involved in the neighborhood. We get to know our neighbors. We walk around a lot, and we use the trails, particularly to Millard Falls, several times a week. We walk there with our dog. And I'm very, very concerned not only on the environmental impact close to the forest, where so many of us have moved to be close to the forest, but I'm also, and the crickets and the starlight with very few street lights, if none in our neighborhood, and also the traffic. I mean, in my corner of Altadena, there are equestrians riding on the streets. We walk our goats, and people have, you know, lots and lots of dog walkers are out on the streets, and I'm really concerned that the increase in traffic, particularly teenage traffic, and I say that with a teenager myself, I'm not feeling like that is, this doesn't feel safe to me. This doesn't feel like it's in the best interest of our community. I'm not sure how this serves our community other than just taking a piece of it for a very exclusive group of people. So,
Thank you.
Okay, I just want to make a quick comment. We met with regional planning today, and I'm just going to give a little bit of advice to Altadena Wild and the neighbors there. You really need to meet and talk with Polly so that you have a place at the table. By being separate and not talking with them, you're giving them the full table. You need to talk with them and come up with something that you can work with. So I'm just saying that to just generalize what, yeah. Reach out to Polly. Reach out. Right. Yeah, you can reach out to the school. You can reach out, yes. Reach out to the headmaster there.
So Lynette, I'm going to give your public comment to Dorothy, who census tract this is occurring in. She will, or to Melissa, and they can email you hit the headmaster's contact. And I would really start there so that we have a coming together. Pass that down to Melissa. Okay, go ahead, Chris.
Madam Chair, if I can have a minute before public comment continues.
Sure.
Thank you for your time. Of course. Altadena neighbors, thank you for joining. I want to take a moment before public comment continues to address an issue that is currently occurring in my census tract. Victor Ving, who I believe is here today, has curated several murals around Altadena in our public spaces, including Greetings from Altadena mural outside Grocery Outlet, the Pacific Electric car on Mariposa, and the murals on the Highlight Coffee Building on Lincoln. Insofar as I am aware, none of these murals have generated complaints in any noticeable volume. The mural on Altadena and Lincoln at Unincorporated, however, has resulted in some controversy. I'll let the community communicate their opinions themselves, but I would like to take this time to assure everybody that the council is aware of the situation and is taking steps to address it. To begin with, let me be clear that the town council has already contacted Supervisor Barger's office about resident concerns. The supervisor personally drove by to take a look at the mural. The Office of Zoning Enforcement conducted an inspection and determined that they had no authority under Title 22 of the Los Angeles County Code to regulate the mural, and they closed the case. For better or worse, the county has very loose restrictions on the type of murals that can be displayed here. This lack of regulation is at least partly our doing, as the Altadena community decided that artwork in public spaces was a net good and that mural projects should be encouraged. This conversation was had during the creation of our Community Standards District in consultation with the Supervisor's Office. I would like to remind everybody that it is not the job of the Altadena Town Council to pick sides or advocate in community disagreements. It is our job to gather input from Altadena residents and reflect the general will of our neighbors. The comments here today are going to be an important first step in beginning that dialogue. To further the dialogue, the ATC will survey the areas surrounding the mural and solicit feedback from those most directly affected by its presence. When that canvassing is complete, I will report back the findings and the council will choose a course of action based upon that data. Thank you for your time. I yield back to public comment.
Okay. Yeah, you can turn it off. Okay, so I'm going to call, if you guys want to, I'm going to call everyone in order, and if you want, before I get blinded, now I can see. Okay, so we have Shishi Yancey, we have Shay Yancey, Sherry Costley, Kelly Simmons, Tomanika Ivy, Tom Harding, and then I'll get to the other four at the end, so why don't we start there? So if you want to come on up, and then Chris will manage the time.
30 seconds. That's 10.
My name is Shay Yancey, and I'm here to share how saddened and appalled I am with this mural that is painted on the wall of the unincorporated coffee shop at 3021 Lincoln Avenue. This mural is adjacent to my home of 48 years. Here's the wall, here's my home. Every day that I pull in and out of my driveway, it is a gut punch. What I see is 5 black men, all with daggers, choking and killing each other. There's nothing positive or uplifting about this mural. It is inappropriate in a community that was once ridden with gangs and violence. I personally have experienced that violence because I saved my nephew from being beat to death by a gang in front of that mural, but in the middle of the street. Another nephew was shot on Lincoln and Ventura by a gang, had his head blown open. So, and currently there's graffiti still on Lincoln, on business down on Lincoln. So even though the artist himself, he says it's a depiction of chaos and violence, and I agree. In a multicultural bedroom community that is finally making a turn for the better, it is misplaced. It belongs in a gallery or a museum, like this particular artist painted in Denver on the wall of contemporary arts. And that's where it should be, not in a community trying to heal from a history of violence. As an artist myself, I appreciate the freedom of expression with art, but not at the expense of the community. A picture speaks 1,000 words and can incite and invoke ill feelings and that is my fear and concern. This mural should be removed as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Sherry? Cherie, thank you.
Hi. Hi, my name is Cherie, and I've been a resident of Northwest Altadena for 52 years, and my home is located directly behind the coffee shop. Walking around my neighborhood is a part of my daily routine, and at one time, in fear of gang activity and violence that plagued the Northwest Altadena, I refused to walk up Lincoln, across Altadena Drive, in either direction. I just didn't. I have a 23-year-old son whom I worry about every time he leaves the house. For him to walk by and to look at that mural, which depicts men stabbing one another, it's like they're getting jumped. And they have knives. 2 of them are holding one down. They have the machetes, and they're stabbing the other one. It's just horrible. So I worry about that, and it's heartbreaking. Whenever you see a picture, that image will stay in your mind. Not to mention that mural is by Avison, which is across the street. And these kids are walking by, and they are looking at that every day. I, too, and Altadena, Northwest Altadena, has had their share of violence, and that is something that we do not need. My family, in particular, have been victims. My mother's house was firebombed in 1989, which resulted in the death of my sister, who was 33 years old. My nephew was shot and killed on Palm and Olive. And as a matter of fact, Brandon Jackson, we're having the basketball scholarship coming up in May. So I just don't think that that's a good look. And it needs, and not to mention, one of my neighbors down the street, a gangbanger caught him at the liquor store, chased him home, and unfortunately, they stabbed him to death. And they stabbed him a lot of times, not just once or twice, and that was a couple of years ago. And that's exactly what that mural is depicting, people stabbing people. And I just don't think it's appropriate.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kelly Simmons. I've been a resident of Altadena for about approximately 12, 13 years. My feeling about that painting is it's fine when we do community art, it's supposed to reflect the community itself. So if the coffee shop that chose to have that picture painted thinks that's our community, that's a problem for me. Secondly, when you you saw all of the other paintings around Altadena. This is nothing like any of them. So you have these lax standards, but I find it interesting that in this area that has had so many issues in the past, this is the painting that was chosen and approved. No one has a problem with art per se. I understand that it's subjective. I understand that he has a right to have that painting, and it reflects his feelings, it informs his art, whatever happened to him, where those are his subjects. However, when we do community art, you need to think about the community that you're putting it in and the area where you're posting that art. If this was hanging off the Norton Simon, I might drive by and say, I don't like it, but it's on a museum. If it was at LACMA, MoMA, anywhere like that, that's the difference that I would ask. Even if you can't make a decision today, when you think about art in the future, those are things that need to come into play, and I would ask the owner of the coffee shop to think of that as well. You can't just think about, oh, I like that picture, so I'm gonna put it up because the rules are lax. I don't need the other 30 seconds. I do thank you for listening to me.
Thank you, Kelly.
Hi, my name is Tomanika Ivy. I've been a resident of Altadena for about 30 years. I fortunately haven't experienced a lot of violence here, and what I mainly relate to are all the wonderful things that I heard people talking about tonight, activities at the parks, activities at the library. That's what we need to reflect. And agreeing with what everyone else has said, I understand that it is their personal property, but we're a community, and we should look out for each other, and we should respect each other. And that is the most disrespectful thing that I have seen. I was bringing a guest to visit, and we passed it from Arizona, and we passed it. And he was like, "What, did you see that?" And I said, "Yeah, we're talking about that." That's like saying, we don't care who you are. We're going to do what we want to do. And it is a business, and they should respect the people around them. And this is completely disrespectful to us. I hope you can use your influence to persuade him to remove it ASAP. Thank you.
And then, are you Tom? Okay, and then after Tom, we have, is it Robert, Isaac, Richard, and Valerie?
I'm Tom Harding, an Altadena resident, educator, and arts advocate. And though I'm a proponent of free speech, I'm protesting the location of the mural at Unincorporated Coffee due to its content. The standards for LA County's public art and private development programs state that public art should be, quote, responsive to the needs of the community in which the public art will be located. The standards also indicate that public art should, quote, improve the quality of life for those who live in the county and engage residents, neighborhoods, businesses, and community organizations in creative partnerships with artists. The project's curator is Victor Vang, as I understand it. He describes on his website steps taken to mount another mural at Grocery Outlet, which we saw earlier. The local community was heavily involved in this piece of public art. The process involved connecting with many local residents and business owners, unquote. Yet Mr. Ving accepted an image of black bodies violently harming each other without similar input from the residents he so thoughtfully involved before. When two neighbors of Patty Cakes Bakery in Altadena protested about the mural showing coffee and pastries, the county stepped in promptly until a groundswell of opposition changed its mind. The same opportunity for public feedback should be given to a mural with violent content. I ask that Altadenans be heard and that alternatives to this mural be considered now, not in a year's time when it is scheduled to be replaced. That would be an important sign of respect to those who must lay eyes on the mural daily.
Thank you, Tom. Robert?
You can put your cards down. You won't need it from me. Yeah, well, watch this, brother. All right, check it out. There are two things we need to consider, imagery and solution. Because for me, I had never even seen it. Somebody had called me when we went to see it. The imagery for me are gorillas stabbing each other. Now, I don't know if you guys understand how that is as an image to a black man, but imagine this, a swastika with the caption, Night of the Long Knives. That's how painful it is for a black man. For me, I'm a longtime resident here. I've been here for 60 years of my entire life. My family has been here 116 years in the Altadena, Pasadena area. I grew up in the 665s until they told me that I was uneducable, right? And so what ends up happening is here in Altadena is because there were white families and black families and Latino families and Asian families. We all came together. We got rid of the violence to the best of our ability, depended on the sheriffs that were out here working with us, and we made Altadena a better community. So the imagery for me, you got to understand, as a man that went and got 2 bachelor's degrees, a law degree, and now practices license, a law here, you got to know that I'm pained when I saw it. Gorillas with knives, God, that cut me deep. That cut me to the white meat, because I'm going to tell you, that hurts. So the solution I would ask is this, because you guys should have my letter, because I sent a letter. Look, I'm one of the people that will give money to that merchant to get rid of it. I'll give you $200 right now, $500, whatever we got to do. let's find a solution, get it out of here. Didn't take me 2 minutes. And Ms. Knapp, art walk we can do in Metropolitan if you want to.
Thank you.
Isaac?
Hello, everyone. I'm Isaac Walker. I lived in Altadena all my life. My father had a pharmacy around the corner from where this painting is. And when I came to visit my sister, and I made a turn, and I was looking at this wall, and first I had to take it all in and really examine it, and then I noticed the content of what it was doing. I'm an artist. I teach at FIDM. I teach my students to be mindful of what you're doing. I showed them my artwork I did for a friend of mine in Hawaii who was a student of mine. And he asked me for some tattoo art. And I showed it to my class. And I said, I did not just put a tribal Hawaiian art up for him to sell. I said I took time to understand what the art was. I did not want to offend a Hawaiian and just put something blatantly up there. I wanted to understand, what was the design about? Why do this culture use these images? But when I saw this, it didn't speak to any culture. It just spoke of hate. It didn't say anything to this neighborhood about respecting no one. It just was just this image of violence. So I did not appreciate this. And as an artist, I think it's just something that should be addressed. And I hate to silence art, but this is not, to me, art. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Richard Colomes. I've been a resident of Altadena since 1996. I live across the street from this violent mural that has been imposed on us with disregard for the community. Artwork and murals provide an incredible vessel for messaging that encourages and enriches contributions to the better of our living environments for young people, for everyone. It's a pity that this opportunity was wasted on the complete opposite. Also, I'm offended by the blatant racialization of characters which promote negative stereotypes and violence. The last message our neighborhood, cities, and this world needs is more glorification of violence. My wish is to please take down this mural, replace it, or put a white wall back up. In fact, if you looked at the slides earlier, the proof is in the pudding. All those 4 or 5 other ones are beautiful. This other one stands out. To me, it shows violence, hate. I live right across the street from it. These people live in the neighborhood. I live across the street. What we had before were coffee waves. Now again, we have violence. I mean, it doesn't go away. I see gang signs, people taking pictures, doing this and that. Please, I beg you, do something about this. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Valerie Brewington, and I've been a resident of Altadena for the last 38 years, and I'm recently retired. When I first saw the mural, it was just a serious, visceral reaction. I've lived in this community, and as Ms. Ivy said, I haven't experienced the violence, but I've known of the violence that has been in this community. I worried about my sons growing up here and being out at night in this community. So when I saw the mural, I was like, oh my gosh, this is just totally inappropriate. I immediately thought it's not appropriate for our community. It is violent, aggressive, and doesn't send a message of peace. It doesn't belong here, and it promotes violence, in my opinion. So please consider the solution of getting rid of the mural. Thank you.
Thank you. One more. Okay, so I want to make sure I got to everyone that had submitted public comment around the mural. Okay, we have one remaining comment from Alan. Are you still here? Okay, great.
It's actually regarding the same issue. Yeah. Cool. Hi, I'm Alan Genoy, I'm one of the owners of Unincorporated, and I wanted to come here today to make sure I don't ignore all the requests that I got over the weekend. We did create a mural project to have an annual change-up of a mural on the side of Lincoln Avenue, and we didn't want it to be some kind of cookie-cutter work, because all those works do look kind of similar, so we wanted something where local artists can showcase different works every year. I can see how some of the images get misconstrued, but if you do look a little deeply into the work of the artist, those caricatures, though intended to be violent, are actually shadows and are trying to be reflective of our own self, and seeing how our apathy is part, it allows the violence to happen in the world, because when he made these caricatures, there were ongoing wars in America that were easily ignored. So I'm just letting you know some of the context. Just like you guys as civic servants come out here to discuss big issues, I think that that painting does have a provocative side that hopefully will cause discussion in the community. And I think Altadena is a mature enough community to understand those issues. Furthermore, if you look at our impact on the corner, we've been there since 2016, and we've worked very hard to work with the community, work with the schools, the churches, and sometimes those students that have felt unsafe have found safe haven in our store, because I've worked to clean up those streets and that shopping center myself. So I encourage you to come in and see what the experience is, because when you come in, you'll see that there's a positive atmosphere, and we work just to give people great coffee and great service. So if you look at how our impact on that corner, you'll see that it was overall positive in the last 7 years. Thank you.
No yelling back and forth. Yeah, thank you. Yes, thank you. So is that all the public comment we have now for everything? Is there more?
Nope, that's everything. Yep, that's everything.
Okay, so we're going to move on to census tract reports. And it's 4610, that's my census tract. And it's just to remind everybody that I guess the progress moves slow. 2018, Dorothy and I worked on a safe trek study for Jackson School. Well, because of that, in 2018, there's been installation of crosswalks at all approaches of the intersection of Woodbury and Casitas, traffic light upgrade, traffic study to determine the feasibility of speed bumps on Crosby Street. That'll make a lot of people happy. And a crosswalk was also, a crossing guard was also added to the school. But just to say, it was 2018 when we did the initial work, and we're seeing the fruits of that now. So it does happen, so that's encouraging. That's what I wanted to share. Okay, so, is there anything else? Okay, so
Your traffic signal's coming soon, too.
yeah, but our traffic signal's been 5 years in the works. So, I move for adjournment. Okay, you guys are out of control, just out of control. Adjourned. I'm sorry what happened.
Hit your gavel.
Order in this place. Don't leave until we put the chairs away, please.